What do you think is the likelihood that she can pull off a job that someone told me earlier this week is not doable?
I think if there's anyone in the world who could do this, it's Marissa. Anyone who knows Marissa knows she's smart, she's driven, and she's very thoughtful about making any type of decision. And this is obviously a big decision for her to step into this big role. I also think it says a lot about the Yahoo board and where they think the focus should be for Yahoo going forward. They're really focused on turning around the culture and the strategy, and bringing in Marissa is a bold step in that direction.
Now, whether or not we think it's a big part of the story, it is what people are talking about. She is pregnant. I'm also pregnant, and I just announced it yesterday. Thank you. So this is a very timely issue for myself as well. There was an article in Forbes, the headline, "New Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer is pregnant. Does it matter?" Does it matter? Jaleh?
I don't think it does matter. I think that Yahoo chose the very best person for the job, and this is a blip in a long career and a long 18-plus years of parenthood in her life. And the timing of that is absolutely irrelevant.
And you're a woman who left her job to spend more time with her kids.
That's correct.
So, you know, obviously it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's a very, very individual decision that each woman needs to make. I will tell you, I remember the experience of it. I was running marketing for Amazon.com. I was at the top of my career, but I had that guilt that a lot of working mothers can probably identify with. I would leave the office every day guilty that my team was still slaving away, and I would get home feeling guilty that my children had been waiting for me. So it was my individual choice to work more flexible hours, to consult for 10 years actually. But recently I took a full-time job at a company called ODesk about 9 months ago, and the reason for that is because the entire business and culture is built around the idea that you're rewarded for results, not for being at your desk from 9 to 5.
Right.
It's a work anytime, anywhere kind of business, and it is exactly the kind of culture that I think we need permeating all of business.
ODesk sounds like a much more flexible working environment, but it's also very, very unique. Mariam, you're not just a CEO, but also a founder, and you have 2 children. You know, talk to us a little bit about the challenges and how you make it work.
Sure. So I founded Minted when my daughter was basically when I was pregnant, and I basically started working full-time on Minted when she was 5 weeks old. And I would say it was really out of passion for the idea, and it was an individual choice also. And we're fortunate enough to be able to make decisions like that now. To make it work, I would say, well, Minted, you know, it's a crowdsourced design community. We crowdsource design from independent workers, similar to ODesk, and mostly women who are moms who are staying at home with their children and submitting art when the kids are in bed. To make it work, my parents have been very supportive. My husband, who has a full-time job, is very supportive. That's one of the key pillars, and I get a lot of help.
Now, a lot has been made of Marissa's maternity leave. She's going to take just a few weeks. She's going to work through it. She also has to make her mark on the company in being 6 to 9 months pregnant, and I can tell you it's not an easy thing to do. Jaleh, do you think she's in for a rude awakening?
I think that's her business. I think it's very, very hard to predict the experience a person's going to have before they have their first child. I think there's hardly anything that's as difficult to predict as that. But I think that that's her business. I think that she can use the next couple of months to empower her deputies. Part of being a CEO is figuring out not only the vision, but the team that you're going to put in place. If she puts the right team in place, I think she will be in a position to be successful regardless of the short little blip that's called a maternity leave.
And it's very controversial, but some people have expressed concern that she's setting a bad example.
You know, I think it's a personal choice, and I think Marissa will make the best choice for her and her husband. And I think really step back, and if you think about it, turning around Yahoo is something that's not going to happen in a span of just a few months. This is a long process that they need to go through, and her taking time off if she needs more time, I'm sure that the Yahoo board has considered that and would be comfortable with that because they think they have the right person in the position. And so I think it's really just a small blip on the road, as Jaleh mentioned.
Mariam, I want to ask you, first of all, is it really possible to leave work at 5:30, especially when you're running a startup? And how do you deal with the hours?
Well, so in the beginning, I purposely did not take venture capital funding. I took an angel round to try to control the pace at which I could develop the company, because I was a little worried about how much time I could actually put in the business and whether I could drive the same kind of like venture growth pace that was needed. So I kind of tried to manage expectations that way. I do think it's possible, yes. I think you have to get a great team around you. You need to get some help around the home. That is one person gave me the advice that when you do spend time with your kids, you need to make it incredibly, the quality time. So you're not doing all kinds of errands during your time with your children. You're preserving the quality of that time.
And yet, the Anne-Marie Slaughter article in The Atlantic called "Women Still Can't Have It All" got a ton of publicity. Like for me personally, it was kind of discouraging. Jaleh, do you agree? Can women not have it all?
Well, I think that's changing, actually. First of all, I wouldn't define it as women having it all. I would define it as women having the choice to define work-life balance the way they would like to see it. But I do think the way we work is changing. I will say that I left at 5:30 after I had my first daughter. All the engineers and pretty much everyone else, all the men stayed 24/7, but I defined that up front with the company. I was the VP of marketing at a startup. And what I learned was to prioritize ruthlessly, to hire really great people, and to focus on what really mattered. I will say some of the very best people I've ever hired are women who need flexible hours, who are moms, who work really, really hard, and are so delighted to have that kind of lifestyle that they contribute a tremendous amount.
And yet, when you look at the numbers, especially in technology, it is so shocking. Women are still outnumbered in technology 3-to-1. They hold 56% of professional jobs in the United States, but only account for 25% of IT positions. Why is this?
I think it actually has to do more with the content of the job and women being prepared to step into significant roles in technology. And that goes back to what you're seeing in engineering degrees and women taking positions in school to really learn how to be great at these jobs. Part of the story with Marissa is that she was a Stanford-trained engineer. She was hired as one of the first 20 employees at Google as an engineer. She is a great product person, understands technology, and so she put herself in a position where she could be a leader of one of these innovative companies. And that is essential in Silicon Valley, and it's something that I think has become really essential for people to focus on if they want to get into this business.
Quickly, do you guys think policies need to change, or do mindsets of women and men need to change?
I think the mindset has to change, and expectations. I think one of the great things about what Cheryl has done in the last couple of years is bring this topic to the forefront and really talked about it. She's been going home at 5:30 every single day for the last 5 or 6 years, and yet she kept it quiet. Why? We all work with people who have done this and have been very successful in doing it, and here's someone who's very visible, who is bringing it to the forefront and making it acceptable and make it something that she's someone that people look to. And if Cheryl can do it, I can do it. And I think if Marissa can be successful, then other people will look at it, I can do that.